So my issue with Skinny Talk is that while their tips do work, the whole eat less, move more, 1,000%. You want to lose weight? Eat less, move more. Simple math, right? However, my issue is that there seems to be like an obsession right now with being runway thin. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with wanting to be that thin, I worry about those girls that are hearing these messages and they are already suffering with an ED or already suffering from low self esteem. And ultimately, I think to myself, would I want my daughter listening to this? Like, let's say, even if my daughter was like 19, 20 years old, like at that age, you're still very impressionable. I'm impressionable and I'm not even in my 20s anymore. So, with that said, I just think that as women, we kind of have to set an example for like the younger generation. And while we should encourage them to eat, like to be healthier and the best version of themselves, I worry that young girls will take this to like a new extreme when they hear these tips from Skinny Talk. And another thing is, if it takes us who are in our like 30s a long time to feel secure within ourselves and in our bodies and to actually feel good about ourselves. I mean, there's women who are in their 50s and they just never gained a sense of like security and self-esteem. Imagine younger women listening to these messages constantly. Like they haven't even had the chance to form not only an identity and get to know who they are, but just to even feel comfortable in their bodies as they're even going through changes, because you go through changes throughout your life in your body. And especially when you're young, going from your child body to like your young adult body to like your middle-aged body. And I just feel scared for the effects that it'll have on younger women. Um, and I'll tell you one thing, because I've lost 20 pounds, right? And I I noticed that unless you're mentally like secure and okay and happy with the way you look, no matter what, and again, you could always want to improve, but if you don't feel good with yourself, no matter how much weight you lose, you're always going to want to change something else about yourself, or you're always going to want more. So reaching a certain weight is not what's going to make you feel ultimately like happy with yourself mentally. Like if that makes sense. Like you're not going to say like lose 20 pounds and say, "Oh my god, I'm very happy, I feel good and content with myself." I feel like if you're not mentally evolved or like whatever, there's always going to be something more. And that's the part that's scary and that's sad. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I hope that women always, want to be the better version of themselves, but I hope it's not at the expense of, suffering or being validated by the world, being validated by men, being validated by anybody, but by yourself. Um, so that's ultimately the message is work on yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and understand that this is not going to make you more beautiful. What's going to make you beautiful are other things. Like, yes, maybe you'll be more pleasing generally to the eyes, but, and this is a whole other topic, like beauty really, really does come from within. Like, there's people who look like superficially like good looking, but there's just something off. Like they don't really radiate. And then there's people who are overweight and they radiate. And that's because it really is like an internal energy thing. So that's all. I hope that we want to be the best version of ourselves, but not compromise and give power to society for them to tell us whether or not we're beautiful. And that's my 2 cents. Thank you.